One day, Yuta's father, Taichi, casually told him he had decided to remarry, and while that news already felt sudden, things got even weirder when Taichi explained that he met the woman at a bar when she took care of him while he was drunk. Yuta immediately suspected something shady, but Taichi insisted Akiko was not that type of person and told Yuta he would meet her that night. Yuta accepted the remarriage as long as his father was happy, and he planned to just live normally. But then, Taichi revealed Akiko had a daughter too. Yuta assumed she would be younger, but at dinner, he found out Ayase Saki was his age, 17, a second-year high school student, and only a week younger than him. Akiko apologized for the confusion because Saki didn't let her take photos anymore. Saki also felt relieved after meeting Yuta because she had been scared. The boy she would live with might be dangerous. Yuta joked that scary people could also look kind, but Saki noticed his way of speaking and acting didn't seem intense. Before their parents came back, she asked to talk to him privately and told him she expected nothing from him, so she didn't want Yuta to expect anything from her either. Yuta immediately understood what she meant, and instead of being offended, he felt relieved because he wanted a clear boundary too. They both agreed to keep this distance and act carefully with each other without pretending to be close just because their parents were getting married. A few days later, Akiko and Saki moved into the Asamura home, and Taichi got nervous about the house's smell and started cleaning more than usual. Akiko arrived with way too many gifts because she couldn't refuse any store recommendations, while Saki bluntly pointed out that her mother had bought everything people suggested. Taichi gave a nervous welcome, and the new family officially started living under the same roof. Yuta showed Saki her room and explained they had prepared a bed, curtains, and a desk, but said they could change things if she wanted. Saki was surprised at how big the room felt, because before this, she had lived with her mother in a small, worn-out apartment and didn't even have her own bedroom. But since Akiko worked at night and their schedules were opposite, Saki was usually alone in the room anyway. While talking, Saki asked why Yuta was using such polite language with her, since they were the same age and casual speech would be easier. Yuta admitted it might be hard to treat her like a close friend right away, but agreed to drop the formal tone, and Saki liked that he understood quickly. She explained that when she talked to her friends about keeping clear boundaries, most of them made fun of her, so she cut ties with everyone except one friend. Yuta didn't argue and just offered to help unload her luggage. During the move, Yuta found out Saki also went to Suisei, which was the same prep school he attended, so he offered to pretend not to know her at school, but Saki said it didn't matter to her either way. Later, Yuta got called to work, where his coworker Shiori teased him about smelling like a girl and asked if his new little sister was cute, and Yuta said she was actually quite beautiful, but Yuta was actually worried about how he and Saki should act as brother and sister. Shiori just told him to act naturally. That night, Yuta came home and awkwardly announced he was back, and Saki didn't know how to respond because nobody had really said that to her before. She explained that her mother usually came home when Saki was at school, then left for work before Saki got back, which wasn't a bad life, just their normal routine. Yuta asked about the bath, and they quietly decided who would go first. After Yuta finished, he told Saki the bath was free and said goodnight, and Saki thanked him and said goodnight too. Their first day as step-siblings ended without drama, romance, or forced closeness, just two strangers trying to share a house without crossing each other's boundaries. The morning after Saki moved in, Yuta spoke with her, and she thanked him for preparing fresh bathwater but told him not to do it again because it wasted water. Their new life started with small adjustments instead of sudden closeness. At school, Yuta's friend Maru noticed him looking at Saki and warned him not to get involved with her. Yuta said it wasn't romantic, but Maru still explained the rumors. People said Saki sold herself because of her blonde hair, piercings, and guarded look, and some students claimed they saw her near the Love Hotel district. Maru also said she rejected a baseball club member by saying she was as bad as the rumors. Yuta didn't accept the gossip so easily, but it stayed in his mind. During tennis class, Yuta found Saki skipping, and she joked he was acting like a big brother, but Yuta said he was just worried because someone he knew was skipping class. Both of them had chosen tennis partly because it wasn't a team sport. Yuta didn't like depending on others or having others depend on him, and Saki admitted she also kept her distance from people. She had no problem being alone because it gave her time for herself. That evening, before going to work, Akiko prepared dinner, and Yuta worried her job would be tiring, but Akiko explained she worked as a bartender and told Yuta to take care of Saki before leaving. Later, Saki asked Yuta if he knew any easy part-time job that paid well for little time, and when she said maybe she'd have to keep selling herself, Yuta misunderstood because of the rumors and told her to protect her body. Saki got confused, and Yuta realized he had taken her words the wrong way. Saki wasn't surprised because she knew how people judged her appearance, and she explained that her fashion was her armed mode and clothes were her way to survive in society. She talked about Akiko and said, People looked down on her mother just because she was beautiful, only finished high school, and worked at night. Saki hated how people twisted everything against women, no matter if they were smart, pretty, independent, or dependent, so she wanted to be perfect at school and worked to prove those people wrong. When Yuta asked who she wanted to prove wrong, Saki threw the question back at him, saying he also avoided relying on others and didn't want others to rely on him. For Saki, earning money was part of becoming strong enough to live independently. Yuta understood and offered to ask his coworker about job leads. Saki accepted his help but didn't want Yuta to do everything for free, so Yuta asked her to make miso soup for him every day as payment. Saki teased him because the request sounded serious, but Yuta explained it had been years since he ate miso soup that wasn't instant. Saki agreed, so they made a small deal. Yuta would find job information and Saki would cook for him. The next morning, Saki went beyond the deal and made breakfast too. Taichi was happy, but Yuta hesitated with the fried egg because he was used to soy sauce, while Saki's family used salt and pepper. Instead of making it a problem, they agreed to ask and share their preferences from now on, which showed them that when strangers start living together, even normal habits need to be explained. At work, Yuta talked with Shiori about money and independence, and Shiori told him relying on family wasn't always bad, and everyone depended on others more than they admitted. Later, Yuta shared this with Saki, and she agreed the idea was probably right, but she still wanted to be self-reliant. When Yuta asked if she could depend on him and Taichi, Saki said they were both dependable, then admitted things might be easier if they were terrible people. On Wednesday during tennis, Saki remembered Yuta had stopped her when she almost put herself in danger, and he said he couldn't ignore something that could get her killed, so Saki had apologized. Then her friend Maya predicted rain by smell. Later, when Yuta got home, Saki's words stayed in his mind. People are always fighting battles others can't see, and for Saki, proving those people wrong was still worth it. After Maya visited Saki's new house, hiding the step-sibling situation became pointless, because Maya had already noticed Yuta talking to Saki during tennis and later giving her an umbrella, so Saki just told her the truth. Since Saki didn't even have Yuta's phone number and had to call the house phone, she and Yuta exchanged contact information. The next morning, Akiko was awake even though she usually slept during the day after work, and since Taichi was leaving late, she wanted everyone to have breakfast together. Saki helped her cook, and the whole family sat down for a proper meal. Taichi got emotional seeing the family breakfast, while Yuta liked Akiko's broth-filled rolled omelet. Saki explained the recipe a bit, and Akiko suggested Saki make it for Yuta next time. After breakfast, Yuta offered to include Akiko and Saki's clothes in his weekly laundry, but both Saki and Akiko hesitated because their clothes needed more careful washing, and Yuta didn't even know what a laundry bag was. Then Akiko casually asked if she should wash Yuta's underwear too, which made things awkward. Saki followed Yuta outside and apologized, but her apology went in a weird direction as she started wondering if maybe Yuta liked women's underwear, cross-dressing, or makeup, and then realized she was making a biased assumption. Yuti told her not to worry too much because sometimes people just react on instinct before thinking properly. Saki still felt guilty because prejudice could lead to discrimination, but Yuti said the important thing was to reflect and examine things again, and since Saki already did that, he didn't think she should keep punishing herself. Saki was surprised because Yuta understood her thoughts better than she expected. Later, Yuta accidentally saw Saki's underwear hanging in the laundry, and when she caught him, he ran away. That night, Saki brought him cocoa and said now they were even, calling his reaction a kind of reflex too, then teased him a bit, asking if her underwear was enough to get his attention. Yuta admitted that having the urge and actually acting on it were two different things, and Saki accepted that answer because she felt the same way. The next day at school, Maya greeted Yuta by calling him Big Brother, and he immediately told her not to say that at school. Maya noticed Saki seemed down since morning, but Saki denied anything was wrong. That night, Yuta told Saki he still hadn't found a good high-paying job for her, and he felt bad because Saki kept cooking for him. But Saki didn't expect an easy answer so soon anyway. Then Saki crossed the line and asked Yuta if he was willing to buy her body. Saki's diary then revealed how much Yuta was affecting her. From the first day, she felt relieved because he seemed considerate and not dangerous. She found it annoying that Yuta believed the rumors about her a bit, but she also noticed he got angry for her and understood why she was upset. She wrote down small details, like Yuta liking fried eggs with soy sauce, and admitted that whenever he shared his thoughts, she could completely relate, which made him dangerous to her because he understood her so well. Yuta rejected the idea and told her she was acting exactly like the kind of girl she hated being seen as. If she wanted to prove people wrong, using her looks as a weapon would just trap her in the same judgment she was fighting against. Saki finally told him about her father. Saki tried to explain that she thought Yuta understood her enough, but he reminded her this was about her, not about him. Her father used to be kind, but after his company failed, he stopped trusting people. Akiko worked more to support the family, but Saki's father insulted her and accused her of using her body because she worked in nightlife. Yuta understood more than she expected, saying his own father became suspicious of women after Yuta's mother cheated, which made Saki realize maybe Yuta was affected too. They both accepted they had broken parts, but Yuta believed they could still get along as brother and sister. He also said Saki could call him big brother, but Saki just thanked him and said they should make this work together. On Saturday, after convincing their parents to go out, Saki and Yuta had dinner alone. Saki wrote that Yuta was considerate, and that was exactly why she shouldn't call him big brother, because if she did, she might start depending on him too much. But when she kept calling him Asamura-kun, something different started growing in her chest. Before she could fully understand it, Saki realized she was starting to develop feelings for Yuta, and it scared her because she still wanted to be independent. A month had passed since Yuta's father and Akiko got married, and Yuta still saw Saki as a stranger because they only became siblings due to their parents, with no blood relation, no childhood memories, and not even years of living together. But now that they shared a house, calling her just a stranger didn't feel completely right either, so defining their relationship became difficult. One day, Yuta came home, and Saki immediately asked him for tutoring in modern literature. Her test score was only 38, and if she didn't pass the retest, she would have to take makeup lessons during summer break, which would ruin her plan to work during vacation. So this was a serious problem for her. Yuta asked why she struggled with literature when she got high scores in other subjects, and Saki explained she couldn't understand fictional characters' feelings or certain choices they made. Yuta was surprised because Saki seemed considerate in real life, but Saki said people only compromised because they couldn't fully understand others' feelings. Yuta accepted this point and agreed to help her study. When he checked her test, he noticed Saki could answer the earlier essay questions, but left many blanks in the novel section, and she admitted Yuta had immediately found her weakness. Yuta focused on Natsume Soseki Senshiro and explained the story was about the difficulty of falling freely in love, but Saki didn't even realize Senshiro had romantic feelings for Mineko and didn't understand why he got jealous, but never said anything directly. Yuta tried to explain that showing your true feelings to someone you like could be difficult, especially with first love, but then they both realized neither of them had any experience with love. Since empathy wasn't working, Yuta changed his strategy and told Saki to treat modern literature less like emotional guessing and more like a puzzle. Since she was good at history, she could use the novel's time period and context to understand the characters' choices, and this approach made more sense to Saki. They kept studying, and Saki started giving correct answers. Yuta told her if she mastered the likely novels for the retest, she would be fine. Saki thanked him and said he was a good teacher, though Yuta didn't fully accept the compliment. Saki seemed a little more relaxed. The next morning, Yuta told Saki not to worry about making breakfast because she needed to focus on studying. Saki felt bad because she had promised to cook for him, but Yuta said as her instructor, he wanted her to pass the retest first. Still, he felt he was receiving a lot from Saki, so he started looking for another way to help. At school, Yuta met Maya, who teased him again by calling him big brother. Her exams were over, and she proudly revealed she scored a total of 808 points in 9 tests, maintaining almost a 90% average in high school. Since she was clearly a strong student, Yuta asked if she knew any efficient study methods for Saki. Maya said she didn't do anything special but listened to background music while working. She couldn't recommend any genre because she just let the app choose, but this idea gave Yuta a starting point. Later at work, Yuta also asked Shiori for advice. As usual, Shiori joked around but took the question seriously and recommended some music she had once researched for background work. She played it for Yuta in high quality, and the music caught his attention. That night, after dinner, Yuta played the music for Saki. Saki liked it and was surprised Yuta listened to things like that. Yuta admitted Shiori introduced him to it, and Saki noticed this was the same older coworker who gave him a lot of recommendations. When Yuta said he and Shiori shared many shifts, Saki went quiet for a moment, then said she just got lost in the music. Yuta explained he felt he was taking a lot from Saki, so even if it was a small thing, he hoped it would return the favor a bit. Saki thanked him and said she would try listening to it while studying at night. Then Yuta offered to handle the dishes. They said goodnight and their quiet routine continued, but the distance between them had already changed. After Saki stayed up late studying for her retest, Yuta woke up late the next morning. Akiko said Saki was still sleeping, which was unusual for her, and explained she was probably up late studying. Akiko worried Saki might catch a cold because she fell asleep with the air conditioner on, while Yuta quietly noticed how hot summer was getting. At the bookstore, Yuta helped Shiori set up a display for A Rift in the Blue Night, a book that was also made into a movie, and Yuta read the summary. The story was about a boy who only met a girl at midnight, a mysterious old violin, and some men chasing the girl. Shiori explained the movie would stop showing after tomorrow, so she invited Yuta to a late show after work. Yuta was interested and agreed, planning to message his parents, and then Shiori pointed out he should probably message Saki too, though Yuta doubted she would worry about him. That night, Yuta and Shiori went to see the movie together. Shiori ordered the classic movie snack setup and made Yuta share a big bucket of popcorn. In the movie, the boy and girl ran from the men chasing the violin. The girl claimed she only had 6 months left to live and said the instrument experiment had to survive even if she died, but the boy realized she was hiding something. Instead of accepting her words, he asked if there was a special place she still wanted to go, and told her they still had time to go there together. After the movie, Yuta walked Shiori partway home, and she said she wanted to repay him, so she stopped at a vending machine and bought him a drink. The conversation was light at first, but then Shiori got more serious and said there was something she wanted Yuta to know. She copied a line from the movie and claimed she only had 6 months left to live. Yuta immediately understood and responded with the movie's own line, telling her he knew she was lying and if they left now, there was still time. For a moment, Shiori seemed ready to say something else, but the vending machine interrupted the mood. She changed the subject and said the view from there reminded her of the park in the movie. Yuta said he couldn't time travel, and Shiori accepted that. When they parted, Yuta thanked her again for the music she recommended because it also made Saki happy. Shiori told him to give her regards to Saki. The next morning, Saki asked Yuta if he was the one who put a blanket on her the night before. He admitted it and said she couldn't afford to get sick before the retest. Saki thanked him, then asked about the movie he went to see. Yuta told her it was good and recommended it, but Saki said she would wait until after her test. Since the movie was based on a book, she thought about reading the novel, hoping it might help with literature too. Then Saki asked if Yuta was dating his senpai from work. Yuta denied it and said Shiori was just a coworker who liked books, so they had a lot to talk about. Saki accepted this, but her interest in books grew a little, and Yuta said he'd be happy to have another friend for reading, but still reminded her the retest came first. Later, Saki went to the bookstore to buy a study guide and the novel version of the movie. Shiori quickly noticed her and introduced herself with too much energy, immediately realizing Saki was Yuta's little sister. She praised Saki's looks so openly that Yuta had to stop her from acting strange in front of a customer. Saki properly introduced herself and asked Yuta for book recommendations since he read a lot. Yuta helped her find what she needed and explained that working at the register was mostly a long chain of short conversations with strangers, but it wasn't really scary. A nearby part-time job poster was there, and Saki told Yuta the store apron suited him. After Saki left, Shiori kept talking about her cute and honest reactions, saying Saki might be the real deal. Yuta hesitated for a moment, but then answered that Saki was still his little sister. At school, Yuta seemed distracted, so Maru asked if the heat was getting to him, then mentioned the rumor that Yuta and Maya were getting close, especially since Maya kept calling him Big Brother. Yuta explained he only asked her about study methods, but Maru still said if Yuta ever had a romantic awakening, he would help. Yuta didn't completely deny it and just said he'd asked Maru when the time came. After school, Yuta met up with Saki and Maya immediately suggested they all go home together since she was coming to help Saki study. Yuta worried walking home together would be awkward, but Maya saw no reason to go separately if they were heading to the same place. Saki quietly thought maybe asking Maya for help was a mistake because Maya was already making the situation louder than expected. At home, Maya quickly got comfortable while Saki got ready to study. Yuta noticed Saki was about to start dinner, so he offered to cook today since he had a day off from work and wanted Saki to focus on her retest. Saki accepted his help, and Maya immediately teased him for giving off husband vibes. Yuta tried to follow the recipe, but soon admitted he didn't really understand it. Maya decided Saki could review alone for the rest of the time and went to the kitchen to guide Yuta, turning the whole thing into her cooking lesson and helping him make sweet and sour pork. While cooking, Maya asked Yuta if there really was nothing between him and Saki. Yuta said if there was, it would be a problem, but Maya pointed out they were basically strangers and not blood related. She said Saki had changed a bit, especially since she seemed to be using more perfume. Yuta said he hadn't noticed, and Maya was relieved because it would be creepy if he did. Maya believed Saki was getting more aware of a special person, but Yuta gave a more practical answer, saying it was natural for Saki to be more careful about her smell now that she lived with a boy. Maya still thought it was a love problem, but Yuta warned her that if she bothered Saki about it, she would just get annoyed. Later, Saki ate the sweet and sour pork and said it tasted good, appreciating that Yuta put in extra effort for her, and Yuta was glad she liked it. When Yuta asked about her studying, Saki said she was able to answer Maya's practice questions. Maya thought her study method was inefficient, and Yuta admitted it might not be the most direct way, but Saki said it worked for her and she believed she would do fine on the retest. Yuta told her he was rooting for her, and Saki thanked him while enjoying the food. The next day, Yuta was restless. Maru noticed at school, and Shiori noticed at work. Yuta couldn't focus properly and eventually went home. That evening, heavy rain hit Tokyo, causing flooding around Shibuya and train delays. Watching the news, Yuta started worrying about Saki because she still hadn't come home and wasn't answering his messages. Yuta sent her several messages asking if she was safe and where she was, and since her retest test was that day, he started imagining maybe the test went badly and she was crying somewhere alone. His worry kept growing until he went outside and ran into Saki near home. Saki apologized for making him worry and said the test result wasn't exactly what she wanted, but then showed him she passed. The real reason for her frustration was that she couldn't beat Yuta's score. Yuta felt relieved and told her not to scare him like that. Saki explained she went farther for groceries because she wanted to thank him with a special meal. Yuta insisted he didn't do enough to deserve it, but Saki disagreed, saying he helped her with modern literature, introduced her to new music, and cooked for her. She also mentioned Shiori, saying Yuta seemed to trust his senpai from work the most, and Saki wanted Yuta to depend on her at home too. Yuta finally accepted her stubbornness and agreed to let her treat him this time. Before going home, Yuta asked why she didn't reply to his messages, and Saki explained her phone battery died because she kept listening to the music Yuta sent her. The next day, with summer vacation about to start, Yuta went to work feeling more settled, but at the bookstore he saw Saki, who was there for a job interview. When he asked the manager who she was, the manager told him her name was Ayase Saki. Saki's side of the story finally became clearer through her diary. She wrote that she struggled with modern literature because she didn't understand why people suffered so much from not understanding each other, but Yuta's explanations gave her hope, and the music he found for her also helped her study. At first, she only felt grateful, but soon her thoughts kept going back to Yuta and Shiori. Saki knew Yuta got the music from Shiori, his senpai at work, and told herself it shouldn't matter, but the fact that she kept writing about it made her question her feelings. When Yuta came home late after seeing a movie with Shiori, Saki felt uneasy because he didn't tell her about it. She knew Yuta had no reason to report everything to her, but she still hated the feeling, and it made her feel even worse because she didn't even know Shiori properly. That night, Saki chose to study in the living room because she wanted to welcome Yuta home, but she fell asleep before he returned. When she woke up and saw a blanket over her, her anxiety eased a bit because she realized Yuta probably covered her. Later, after meeting Shiori at the bookstore, Saki wrote that Shiori's name was pretty, she seemed mature, and maybe could be a good match for Yuta. She also noticed the help wanted poster at the bookstore. The job wasn't especially easy or high-paying, but she started thinking it might be better to work there instead of looking for shortcuts. Still, she worried it would feel strange to apply at the same place where Yuta worked. After passing the retest, Saki decided she could spend summer vacation more freely, planning to keep studying while saving money from work. While looking at the job poster, someone approached her and she said she was interested. Since she didn't want Yuta to see her practicing or ask why she chose that bookstore, she kept the job interview a secret, which was also why she didn't reply to his messages right away. She knew she was hiding things, and the more she did it, the more afraid she became of the feeling growing inside her. Saki realized that eventually she would have to explain everything to Yuta. She was scared to tell him, but also thought it might bring relief. She admitted she didn't know every side of Yuta or everything about his relationship with Shiori, and that not knowing made her anxious. In the end, she gave this feeling a clear name: jealousy. By late August, Saki was already working at the bookstore with Yuta. During a meal, Taichi and Akiko noticed Yuta and Saki still called each other by family names, and Akiko suggested something more sibling-like, but both said it didn't feel right. Then Taichi pointed out that summer vacation was already halfway over, and both of them had mostly been working instead of going out for fun. Later, Saki told Yuta not to worry about Maya, explaining that she and Maya weren't close enough to hang out casually during summer break, and Maya gave her space unless Saki made plans first. Yuta understood because he also preferred being alone instead of spending time with people he wasn't close to. At work, Saki was learning quickly, and Shiori noticed this too. When Saki had trouble finding a new release for a customer, Yuta helped her by figuring out the book's location from the sign because the top book in the pile wasn't the new release listed on the title sign. Saki was impressed, but Yuta said Shiori would probably have found it even faster, and Saki quietly reacted to that name again. Later, Saki noticed the store had changed its displays to fall clothes, while Yuta only thought summer wasn't over yet because of the heat. Saki realized Yuta had almost no interest in fashion and accepted he would never notice those kinds of changes. The next day, the home air conditioner broke, and Akiko said Saki had always struggled with summer heat. She remembered a younger Saki begging for ice cream and wanting to go to the pool, even though after middle school, Saki became much more reserved. This brought back Saki's words that her mother started working twice as hard for her. Later, Maru told Yuta he heard Yuta and Saki were going to the pool with Maya and some others, but Yuta knew nothing about it. At work, he asked Saki if Maya invited her and maybe invited him too. When Saki asked if he wanted to go, Yuta admitted he would feel out of place at the pool with energetic people. Saki told him he didn't need to force himself, then said she wasn't going either. Behind her calm answer, Saki's diary gave the real meaning. Her uncomfortable feelings about Yuta and Shiori were no longer just confusion. Saki's childhood showed a day when she cried for ice cream before dinner. Akiko didn't scold her directly, but instead reminded her she was making beef stew, and Saki immediately dropped the ice cream because she wanted dinner more. Later, when Akiko asked where she wanted to go next week, young Saki chose the pool without hesitation. In the present, the home air conditioner was finally fixed, and Akiko was relieved because Saki could study at home again. But Yuta was still thinking about Maya's pool invitation. He asked Akiko if Saki minded when people made plans without her input, and then asked her to join later. Akiko said Saki would probably hate that, because she preferred everything to be clear from the start. Akiko teased Yuta, asking if he wanted to take Saki on a date, but Yuta immediately denied it and said Saki was his sister, explaining that Saki always seemed guarded and pushed herself too hard. Akiko admitted maybe Saki became like that because Akiko was always busy, so Saki tried to mature before her age. Then, Akiko told Yuta to make sure Saki took breaks sometimes, even if he had to insist. Yuta talked to Saki about the pool, but she immediately shut him down and said she wasn't going. Instead of arguing, Yuta said he changed his mind and might go himself, so he asked for Maya's contact information. Saki refused because giving someone's contact without permission was rude, but agreed to ask Maya first. Later, after cram school, Yuta met Shiori, who had just dealt with the professor and joked that teasing Yuta helped her recover her energy. Yuta was used to her strange teasing by now, but even this small meeting became part of the problem waiting for him at home. That night, Yuta tried to prepare dinner because Saki was always working for him. When Saki came home, she calmly helped him with a few small details in cooking, and they sat together with coffee. Yuta brought up the pool again, and Saki finally said she would give him Mai's contact information. But Yuta stopped her and admitted he didn't actually care about the contact information. He only used that excuse because he wanted Saki to go and enjoy herself. Yuta explained he thought Saki might get jealous if he said he wanted to go. Saki didn't understand why she would be jealous, so Yuta told her the real reason. Akiko had told him that as a child, Saki hated the heat and loved going to the pool. Saki said that was only when she was little, but Yuta also pointed out she sounded different when talking about Maya. When Maya and Yuta made sweet and sour pork, Saki looked happy, so Yuta believed she actually wanted to go. Saki kept saying she didn't have time and needed to study, but Yuta told her she needed rest too. That finally made Saki snap, and she said she couldn't relax. Yuta replied that was exactly why he worried about her. If she kept forcing herself to be independent without taking breaks, she would eventually collapse. Saki couldn't answer and quietly went back to studying. The next morning, Saki woke up late because she only went to sleep around 6. She immediately apologized for not preparing anything for Taichi before he left. This time, Yuta properly stopped her, saying her job was to sleep. Saki hesitated, but Yuta made her sit down. Yuta told her Taichi already ate bread, but Saki still tried to get up and cook for him. He reminded her that rules could change depending on the situation, and today her job wasn't cooking. He prepared toast and grilled ham for her, then offered hot milk because the air conditioner was on and a warm drink might help her get back to sleep. Saki accepted, and they ate together. After that, she finally said they should go to the pool. The only problem was, they both had work that day, but Yuta said they could trade shifts and make it possible. Later, while walking together, Saki apologized for acting cold after seeing Yuta with Shiori. Since they promised not to hide uncomfortable feelings, she directly asked him to tell her clearly if he and Shiori were dating. Yuta said they weren't dating. Saki admitted Shiori was a great person, then caught herself praising her too much, and worried she might influence Yuta's feelings. Yuta forgave her but told her to stop apologizing so much. As they kept walking, Yuta realized out of habit he brought his bike even though they were walking together, but Saki accepted it as a simple habit and said the pool would be fun. At the same time, an old memory showed Yuta at the beach with Taichi, wanting to go to the pool with his family someday. At first, Saki looked back at everything building inside her. She knew Yuta usually stayed neutral with people and, even with her difficult personality, tried to meet her halfway. He didn't judge her with fixed ideas and even noticed the efforts Saki tried to hide. That's why Saki admitted to herself she wanted to understand Yuta better, and more than that, she was attracted to him. But this attraction also made her uneasy. She remembered how quickly Yuta found the book she was searching for at work, then said Shiori could find it even faster. That small comment bothered Saki more than she wanted to admit. She started comparing herself to Shiori, especially her long hair and mature charm, then got frustrated at herself for thinking that way. Saki also remembered how badly she reacted when Yuta asked about Maya's pool invitation. She acted cold because she didn't want to face her feelings. In her mind, she was too busy with study and work to waste time playing, but when Yuta kept worrying about her, she remembered the time in middle school when her mother wanted to take her to the beach. Back then, Saki refused because she didn't want to trouble Akiko or make her take time off work. Remembering that disappointment, Saki realized maybe she had been denying herself of simple happiness for a long time, so she finally decided she could go to the pool. At the pool, Yuta was surrounded by Maya's cheerful group, and everyone asked him about his bookstore job, while Maya teased him for spending summer vacation just working and studying. Yuta didn't try to be impressive, he just answered normally and blended into the group. Saki watched him quietly, knowing she wasn't good with friends and often struggled to read the room, but today it felt easier than usual. She thought it was because of Yuta, who could handle people better than her, but also knew how to say no when something didn't fit him. That balance was one of the reasons Saki liked him. When everyone played pool games, Saki noticed Yuta didn't try to stand out. Instead, he focused on helping the team and making sure everyone enjoyed themselves. For Yuta, it was just a way to avoid being the center of attention and not mess up, but Saki saw it differently. She told him from her point of view, what he did was cool, because he supported everyone behind the scenes. Yuta got embarrassed, but the compliment stayed in his mind. Later, while watching Saki, Yuta finally admitted the truth to himself. He liked her. He was never good with girls because what happened between his parents made him cynical about romance, and he never expected to fall for anyone, but now the person he liked was Saki, his little stepsister. That made it even harder to accept the feeling. After the pool, Saki noticed Yuta and Maya had gotten more comfortable with each other. Yuta said he just wanted to thank Maya for inviting him and admitted he had a great time, and Saki was glad he appreciated her friend. When Yuta asked if she enjoyed it, Saki said yes. She used to love swimming but hadn't been able to enjoy it for a long time, and now she was glad she listened to Yuta. Later, Saki told Yuta he was thoughtful and considerate. Saki was shaken too. She said he noticed how hard people tried, and she found that admirable about Yuta. Then, trying to control her feelings, she called him Big Brother, explaining he always took care of her and she could rely on him like a real brother. For Yuta, that word pulled him back to reality. He realized Saki's warmth and praise were for her brother, while he had started to see her as something else. He felt guilty because Saki trusted him, and he thought he was close to breaking the rules they lived by. Her hands were trembling, and she kept reminding herself they were siblings now, but she also wondered what she would do if Yuta ever took a step closer and told her he liked her. That thought scared her because she knew she might not be able to reject him. The next day, Akiko was happy the whole family could spend time together. Saki decided she had to lock away her feelings so she wouldn't ruin her parents' happiness or trouble Yuta. Akiko thanked Yuta for helping Saki go to the pool because Saki probably wouldn't have gone without him. After that, Saki reread her diary and realized she had written her feelings too honestly. From now on, she decided not to write the truth down. If she wanted to remember those feelings, she would keep them in her head. She couldn't stay with Yuta as just a girl. She had to stay as his stepsister. Maya led the class meeting for the cafe, dividing the work into setup, costume, and food teams, then told everyone to prepare budgets for snacks, drinks, and utensils so everything could be sent to the student council. The meeting ended early, so the other students decided to go to karaoke, but Saki refused because she had something to do. On her way out, Saki wondered what step-siblings really were. For her, a stepbrother started out as a stranger, because just becoming siblings suddenly didn't mean they had any shared history. She used to believe step-siblings started as strangers and always stayed that way. At home, Saki found Akiko waiting for her, who said she wanted to talk face-to-face about parent-teacher meetings. Saki wondered why it couldn't be done by message, but Akiko explained she wanted to confirm things. Then she asked how things were going between Saki and Yuta at school, and if anyone knew they were siblings. Akiko explained the problem. Taichi was very busy, so she wanted to attend both Saki and Yuta's meetings herself, but her bar was small and taking multiple days off was difficult. If she attended both meetings on the same day, people at school might find out Saki and Yuta were siblings. Still, she had another reason for hesitating. Akiko felt Yuta hadn't fully accepted her as a mother yet, and that made her sad. Yuta came home at the perfect time, and Akiko told him the same thing. She suggested scheduling the meetings on different days to keep their secrets safe, but Yuta worried that would mean Akiko had to come to school twice, even though she already worked nights. Akiko tried to act fine, but both Saki and Yuta could see the situation wasn't simple. Later, after Saki came home from work, Yuta had dinner ready, and they sat together and brought up the parent-teacher meetings at the same time. They agreed hiding their sibling relationship was mostly for their own comfort. Neither of them wanted to decide alone, but they also didn't want to burden Taichi or Akiko. Saki admitted she had seen what happened when Akiko worked too much, and Yuta felt the same about his father and Akiko. So they decided to schedule both meetings on the same day. If people at school found out they were siblings, they would just accept it. Saki also said there were other reasons she wanted Akiko to attend both meetings, but didn't explain yet. When Yuta offered to wash the dishes because Saki was tired, she said they should do it together. This decision made both of them think about family. Yuta told himself they weren't strangers anymore, and he would have to seal away his romantic feelings. Saki was touched that Yuta cared about her mother, but that made it even harder to erase her own feelings. They both reminded themselves they were family now. now. The next morning, Yuta told Taichi about the decision. Taichi said Akiko would be happy because she once told him she wanted them all to become a real family. He also said if Akiko found out Yuta accepted her as family, it would mean a lot to her. When Saki came in, she called Taichi dad and Yuta big brother, making the family atmosphere feel more natural than before. At school, Yuta told Maru the truth. Maru finally understood why Yuta was asking about Saki before, and apologized for saying harsh things about her without knowing she was Yuta's sister. He also admitted he thought Yuta was attracted to Saki, but Yuta brushed it off and said they were getting along fine as siblings. On the other side, Saki ate with Maya and the others. The group started planning another hangout, but since Saki usually studied on her free days, Shinjo suggested a study session. Maya offered her house, and Saki agreed. Their joke turned into a sibling gag when Maya called the boys her little brothers and tried to make Saki her little sister too. Saki bluntly rejected the idea so hard that Maya felt attacked. At work, Shiori noticed Yuta seemed down and teased him, saying maybe he missed Saki since they hadn't shared many shifts lately. Yuta insisted Saki was his sister, even if technically she was his stepsister. Shiori found his answer boring, then invited him to her women's college open campus event. Later, Yuta also met a girl from cram school named Fujinami Kaho, who introduced herself properly and left. At home, Saki cooked dinner and left a note saying it was for her big brother. She realized if she really wanted distance, she wouldn't cook for Yuta or leave him notes. Completely avoiding him felt more like cutting ties than keeping a safe distance. But now that they weren't strangers anymore, Saki wondered if this path would someday leave her with regrets. The day of the parent-teacher meeting arrived, and Akiko came home from work with almost no rest. She checked the schedule again. Yuta's meeting was at 42, and Saki's was at 40:40. She just had to wake up by 2000, but no one would be home then. Taichi offered to call her, though Saki worried he had work too. Akiko accepted and told him to wake her up firmly. At school, Yuta waited for his meeting. Maya saw him and mentioned Saki already went home because she forgot something and planned to wake Akiko herself. That made Yuta lose focus for a moment. Maya noticed and directly asked if he liked Saki. Yuta denied it and said they were siblings, but Maya pointed out he still called her Ayase-san, and they only recently became step-siblings. Then she asked if she could support another guy who liked Saki. Yuta said she didn't need his permission for that. Later, Yuta guided Akiko to his classroom. On the way, Akiko asked if he and Saki ever noticed each other at school before becoming family. Yuta said they might have passed each other, but he didn't remember. Akiko teased him a bit, but when they reached the room, she got serious and said she would do her best. During Yuta's meeting, Suzuki-sensei said if Yuta kept working hard, he would have no problem entering a famous Tokyo university. He praised Akiko for raising him well, and Akiko froze because she only recently became his mother. Yuta covered for her and said he was grateful to his mother, and that one sentence made Akiko very happy. After the meeting, she got emotional because Yuta acknowledged her like that. Next was Saki's meeting. Sato-sensei admitted she was worried about Saki during the first term because unpleasant rumors spread about her behavior. But after observing Saki herself, she believed those rumors were wrong. She also understood Saki's wish to look good, though she advised her to keep it appropriate for a high school student. Then they talked about Saki's future. Since Saki wanted low tuition and a strong job path, Sato-sensei recommended Tsukunomiya Women's College, which was a public school with a good reputation and had an open campus event that weekend. Saki hadn't considered it before, but decided to visit alone. The next day, Saki went to Tsukunomiya and saw Shiori working at the reception. Shiori was happy to see her and tried to show her around, but soon they met Kudo Aiha, a professor giving a sample lecture on ethics. Kudo quickly noticed Saki was struggling with something and invited her to her office, claiming she might have the answer Saki needed. Kudo already knew a little about Saki from Shiori, even though Shiori was careful not to reveal Yuta's name. Still, Kudo understood the issue and asked if Saki had romantic feelings for Yuta. Saki tried to hide behind the fact that Yuta was her brother, but Kudo pointed out they weren't blood-related and had only been siblings for 3 months. Saki couldn't clearly deny her feelings. Then Kudo gave Saki another possibility. Maybe what Saki was feeling wasn't romantic at all. She said Saki had carefully built her appearance and personality, wanted to be seen as cute without being judged as easy, and worked hard to hide her weakness. Kudo advised her to meet more people and widen her view. Since Saki had been fighting alone for so long, even a small gesture of understanding could make her attached to the person who understood her. If later Saki connected with someone else and still had feelings for Yuta, then she should treasure them as real. Meanwhile, Yuta spent time with Fujinami Kaho from cram school. At first, Kaho thought he might be hitting on her because people often judged her for attending night school and going to arcades late, but Yuta didn't have a fixed image of that kind of person, so he treated her normally. Kaho liked that he tried to see things fairly, and in the end, they agreed to have lunch together again the next day. That night, Saki told Yuta about Tsukunomiya, Shiori, and the strange professor she argued with. Though the conversation exhausted her, she said it was fun and made her want to try for that college. Yuta told her that was good news. Then Saki asked if he would keep going to the study lounge, and Yuta mentioned he was meeting a cram school friend for lunch again. Saki accepted it as a good thing, and Yuta told himself the same. Saki had found someone to help her think about college, and Yuta had found someone to talk to at cram school. Their lives were slowly making separate paths. For Yuta, that meant they were getting closer to being a normal 17-year-old brother and sister. Saki started by thinking people don't just fail because they don't have answers, but also because they don't know how to find answers. Now she believed the answer was to rely on others, admit your weak points, ask for help, and return help if possible. Leaning on people was a skill too, and expecting them to guess what you wanted was unfair. Still, she couldn't share her honest feelings with Yuta. While shopping, Kisuke helped Saki carry bags and mentioned he had a little sister. Meanwhile, Yuta met Kaho, but kept forcing the conversation. Kaho noticed his look from yesterday and said it seemed like he was running from something. She guessed he came to the study lounge because he needed refuge. Yuta finally admitted he had fallen for someone he believed he should never love. He knew if he got what he wanted, it could cause trouble for everyone, but he couldn't make the feeling disappear. Kaho decided she would take him to Shibuya that night. Then Kyosuke confessed to Saki. Saki thanked him for his honesty but rejected him. He asked if she was dating someone or had a crush, and Saki said no, but still said it wouldn't work. After he left, Kudo's words came back to her. If she connected with someone else and her feelings still didn't change, those feelings were real and she should treasure them. Saki realized she couldn't deny her heart so easily. In Shibuya, Kaho told Yuta he reminded her of her past self. She thought Yuta's objectivity might have come from growing up without a woman he could depend on. Kaho revealed she lost both her parents in middle school. At their funeral, relatives made fun of their marriage because both families had opposed it. After that, Kaho stopped expecting anything from people. Later, her aunt adopted her and told her not to ignore her heart. Her aunt understood Kaho hadn't really stopped believing in people. She was hurt because her belief was betrayed. Kaho warned Yuta that suppressing feelings and being objective weren't the same thing. If he kept lying to his heart, the wound would stay. When Yuta said he couldn't be selfish, Kaho told him feelings were already selfish. On Monday, Yuta told Saki he saw her with a boy near his cram school, and Saki said it was Shinjo. Then she asked where Yuta went so late. Yuta admitted he was walking in Shibuya with a girl from cram school, and it helped him think. Then he finally told Saki he had very strong feelings for her. At first, Saki thought he was lying, but Yuta stayed serious. She asked if he meant family affection, or jealousy, or the desire to touch her and hold her. Yuta admitted those feelings were part of it too. Saki tried to explain it away, saying siblings could be possessive, and maybe his feelings were just stronger than normal family affection. Yuta couldn't completely reject that possibility, but his confession didn't change. Saki apologized. Later, Saki reached out to him and accepted what Yuta said. She thanked him for having the courage to speak up, because keeping it hidden would have hurt him too. She said she could help carry that weight. Whether his feelings were just family affection or something else, she was okay with them, and part of her was even happy. She also admitted she didn't fully understand her own feelings. Still, if hugging her comforted Yuta, she wanted to do that, and wanted Yuta to comfort her when she needed it too. They didn't want to hurt Taichi or Akiko, and both wanted their parents to stay happy. They admitted if the other got close to someone else, they might feel jealousy, but agreed. Jealousy wasn't just for lovers. In front of everyone else, they would stay brother and sister, even if what they had in private was more complicated. Saki tried to define their bond, but the words stuck in her throat. Instead, Yuta said he would rely on her, and Saki could rely on him too. Together, they decided to protect what they had and slowly figure it out. For Saki, this was the story of how two people who were strangers until yesterday finally became a true family.